A beautiful day in Jacksonville. It's 60 degrees as we start this game, and an important game for both teams. And the Jaguars may be under the radar a lot because they're a small market team, but they're only a game behind first place in the division. There is the great Devin Hester, who will return the opening kickoff. Jacksonville won the toss. They deferred, so the Falcons will get it first, and we'll see what Jason Myers does as far as kicking it so that Hester can't return. And this game is underway in Jacksonville, and the Falcons will take it out at the 20-yard line. Matt Ryan, and he has struggled in a big way, as the last 8 games indicate. He's certainly not the quarterback we're used to seeing, David.
He most certainly hasn't been, and obviously there has been a changing of the guard with the new head coach and a new offensive coordinator. But some of the struggles that he has, you can't have as a veteran quarterback with as much experience as Matt Ryan has had.
Suffered the first shutout of his career last week, losing to Carolina 38-0. First and 10 to the 20. And throwing on first down, and the pass is complete for a gain of about 6 yards to Julio Jones with house covering. Let's take a look at the lineups now. And the big problem for the Falcons, David, is the fact they, with all their weapons, they just can't get into the end zone.
Well, their problem is also staying one step ahead of the other team, not becoming one-dimensional without the ability of running the football.
Second down and 3. And Ryan with time, and he completes the pass for a first down beyond the 40-yard line, and this to Roddy White. So let's take a look at the Jaguars defense. They've allowed fewer points lately, and they're glad to have Paul Posluszny back at middle linebacker.
Branch last week, we saw his potential reach production that the Jacksonville fans have all been looking for. But then you look at this back end, Devon House, Aaron Colvin, they've got to do a great job today because they're going to move Julio Jones around to create one-on-ones.
That was a 16-yard gain and a play action. So going to the air for the third straight play. Where does he go to? He goes to the running back, Devontae Freeman, who his coach Dan Quinn said really is our second best receiver. He is a yard short of the first down with Posluszny making the tackle.
He is such a matchup problem for linebackers, especially when you're able to get them going on the ground and get those linebackers to step up and play action. But they have to remain balanced today. They can't have Matt Ryan throw the ball for over 40 times because that has not led to success for them this season.
Well, they're in Jacksonville territory. Second down and 1 at the 48. And the pitch goes to Freeman off the right side. He'll have the first down, and Freeman is driven out of bounds as flags fly. First penalty of the game, and he is knocked out of bounds at the 37-yard line. A good block, however, by the fullback Patrick DeMarco.
Well, they're running that outside zone sweep because they know that the Jaguars defense have had problems at the point of attack setting the edge. They're able to get it outside, get bigs on small, and get that first down.
Gained 11 pending the call by the referee Bill Vinovich.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 by each team. During the run, holding, offense number 84. After the play was over, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, defense number 57. Those penalties will offset, replay second down.
So Roddy White holding Thurston Armbrister right here.
That's the late hit. You could see that he's out of bounds. He's got 1 foot out. Granted, that's close, but they understand they have to get these hits on Freeman because he coughed up the football last week.
Tevin Coleman is now the tailback. It'll be second down and 1 after the offsetting penalties. And they're going to give Coleman the chance to get the first down, and he does, getting to the 45-yard line.
Once again, they've got to do a better job as a defense setting the edge, forcing things all the way inside to where the flow of the defense is coming from. They've struggled all season, and so far in the first quarter right now to start this drive, they haven't fixed it. 3-yard
pickup and a first down. Play action, and Ryan has a lot of room to run, but he has a receiver, and it's Julio Jones. Another flag is down at the 25, and out of bounds is Julio Jones. So Matt Ryan off to a hot start. That'll be 23 yards, but we'll see what the call is.
Pass, illegal contact. Defense number 22. The penalty is declined. Result of the play.
Aaron Colvin, the cornerback, with the penalty, and it is declined, of course, after the big gain. And the Falcons are marching, and that's been rare for them. They have not scored a point in their last 14 possessions. But they're marching here. They have a first down on the Jags 22 as Devontae Freeman checks back in. Two tight end formation. And this is going to be another play action pass and another completion of Julio Jones. Cannot stay in bounds, but he gets another first down inside the 10. Defended by Josh Evans, and so the Falcons on the arm of Matt Ryan early. That'll be a gain of 14.
You know, a lot of these designed runs set up this play action. He's able to sell it down inside. You see the linebackers all flow to the left. He's able to run that bootleg outside and connect with Julio Jones. So they're doing things now to get Matt Ryan on the run, to get play action going, but also not take the hits like he did last week against Carolina.
First and goal at the 8-yard line. And Ryan again, quickly, and it's complete to Freeman, and Freeman stopped by Posluszny after a gain of 3 yards. So the Falcons, looking for balance, have thrown 7 of their first 8 plays. But who's complaining? They have a second and goal at the 5.
But when they have run the football, they've been successful at it, and that's Devontae Freeman's 63rd catch on the season, and that's second among all players on this offense.
Second and goal from the 5, and the pitch is to Freeman. Freeman trying to race into the end zone, and it is Posluszny again, and out of bounds. Let's go! It's a touchdown. He got in. He got the foot in, and the ball over the pylon. So a race for the corner of the end zone, and Devontae Freeman with his 12th touchdown of the year.
They're reviewing it right now like all scoring plays, but you see that ball stretch. Did it get inside the pylon or outside of it? They're all looking. That's it.
He touched it, but he didn't get inside. But when the ball touches the pylon, it's a touchdown, and so Freeman gets the score on a close play in the corner. They review it, of course. 10th touchdown rushing, and 12 overall this year for Devontae Freeman.
It's a great start by the Falcons offense right now.
Shane Graham with the extra point, and it's good. Very impressive start, and for the first time in 15 possessions on the opening drive of the game, the Atlanta Falcons score, take an early 7-0 lead over the Jaguars.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide.
So the Atlanta Falcons, on the strength of Devontae Freeman's touchdown, 8 plays, 80 yards. And Ryan was a perfect 6 for 6 during that drive, David. Nick Marshall is back deep. The converted quarterback, who's the nickel back on defense, will keep it there. And the Jaguars will start from the 20 in a 7-0 hole. We'll see what the second-year quarterback Blake Bortles has to say. Prolific touchdown passer this year.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Blake Bortles, who's been red hot lately. 10 touchdowns, only 1 interception, also the second leading rusher on this Jaguar team. And he is huge, 6'5", 245 pounds. Starting from the 20-yard line, 7-0. Falcons in front. And the handoff is to Denard Robinson, and Robinson gets 1 yard.
Let's go back and look at that touchdown. The problem, like I said, is setting the edge. You get Levine Toilolo, you get Schrader on the outside. They're able to set the edge, get Freeman out in the open space, and from that, it's up to him. Posluszny still has that cast coming back. It's going to be a significant factor of him being able to wrap up and come up with a big tackle like the one he just missed.
Broken hand and comes back fast and has the cast on the right hand. Second down and 9. Bortles with a short drop, and the pass is batted back almost in his face by Rashid Hickman. So that'll bring up third down. So we're seeing aggressiveness early on, I would say, on both sides of the ball from the Falcons.
We most certainly are. They haven't had any lingering effects from that loss that they suffered last week at the hands of the Carolina Panthers, and they've come out starting fast.
Sometimes when you get blown out, you just say, well, that's the way that game went. Sometimes it's not as bad as losing by a point or two. Third down and 9. They spread it out with 4 wide receivers, 3 to the right for Bortles. And Bortles pass, and it's incomplete downfield. It's Julius Thomas, the tight end, defended by Robert Alford. And all of a sudden, 3 and out. And now the Jags have to kick it away.
You know, we talked about, yes, the second half points they rattled off, but it started slow. Alford one-on-one has that matchup. Julius Thomas is a big target, but look at running stride for stride, has that inside body presence, and comes up with a big stop.
Textbook coverage there. Here's Devin Hester, arguably the greatest of all time as a kick returner.
Dangerous.
Third game back, not played at all this year, and has a returnable ball at the 33. Here's Devin Hester going to the sideline and will step out of bounds. Not bad field position for Matt Ryan around the 40-yard line. So Julio Jones, talk about the best in the league. How about wide receiver? He's coming back with the Falcon offense in just a moment.
Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Today's game is sponsored by Mobile Strike. Download and play now, free from the App Store.
2 head coaches, 2 good friends, Dan Quinn, Gus Bradley. For more, here's Christina Pink.
Thank you, Dick. Well, for the first time, Gus Bradley facing a head coach who once worked under him. Dan Quinn and Gus Bradley, their friendship dates back to their Seattle days. Dan Quinn, the defensive line coach on the 2 years for Gus Bradley as defensive coordinator. They remain good friends today. Speaking to Dan Quinn before the game, he said, in fact, when he got the job in Atlanta, one of the first people to contact him was Bradley. And the text said, Q, I think you'll nail it. He said, I respect him, his passion. He's a teacher, and I look forward to seeing him today.
All right, Christina, thank you. On first down from the 41, and the pass thrown underneath for a 2-yard gain to Devontae Freeman on the play. So Dan Quinn, who we talked to yesterday, and he says he texts all the time with Gus Bradley, and he always starts by saying, hey man.
Well, anytime you meet that Gus Bradley, hey man, he's just energetic. He's excited, and these are 2 bright young coaches in the NFL that have really turned things around. But Dan Quinn still has a lot of work to do with his personnel of his team.
Second down and 7 from the 44. Play action again, and the pass up the middle, and it off the hands of Julio Jones, and it was up for grabs for a while with 3 defenders from the Jags in the midst.
And that's a ball that Julio Jones comes up with 9 times out of 10. He has to make that catch. There's no excuse, and when your team is struggling, the playmakers have got to step up and come up with catches.
First incomplete pass thrown by Matt Ryan. And now it's third down and 7. Falcons with 3 wide receivers lining up, including that man.
And watch this matchup down at the bottom of the screen. Nick Marshall with not a lot of experience.
Ryan has some time, and the time dissipates. And you have to think there was good coverage downfield, but there's a flag thrown at the 39-yard line. Jonathan Cyprien from the safety position, good pressure in on Ryan, and we'll have a holding call against the Falcons.
Holding. Offense number 83. Penalties declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
So the tight end Jacob Tamme was holding, and they'll have to punt.
Well, they go with max protection, and you see Jacob Tamme, the tight end, he's actually playing in the backfield. He gets that inside move by Cyprian, and he's straight up arms outside, goes to tackle him. It's an easy call for the officials.
And eventually that coverage breaks down. There's Rashad Green, who had a 73-yard punt return last week against the Colts, the first special teams touchdown for the Jags this year. And Matt Bosher will punt it away, and it's going to be a fake, and it's taken by Eric Weems. And Eric Weems, with a flag down at the 50-yard line, would have a first down. So the Falcons with a little razzle-dazzle here, and why not when you've lost 6 games in a row? And we'll see what the call is after a 10-yard gain.
Clay Harbor, 86 for the Jaguars, threw his hands up right away, so I think it's a hold.
Holding.
Right.
Offense. Left end. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
So it'll be 4th down, and that would have been great for Matt Ryan and company if they got that fake on the punt. First down. No, they'll have to kick it away.
You see him outside standing there. He's playing that left end position, and they roll right through, and you see right there, that's that hold, those hands outside. You know, Nate Stupar, who's stepping in for Paul Warlow, is that player. Big play, could have kept a lot of momentum, but when you get those holding calls, it's been a sign of what has happened to the Atlanta Falcons all season.
Now they're going to have to kick it to Green. Bosher will punt it away. Short kick. Green's going to let it bounce, and it could benefit the Falcons if they down it, and they will at the 1-yard line. Jalen Collins kept it in play, and it was down. But right now, for a game break, let's check in with Mike Hill in Los Angeles.
All right, guys, Vikings trying to hold off those Falcons for the 6th seed in the NFC, trying to end a 2-game slide against Chicago. Teddy Bridgewater finds Stephon Diggs for his 3rd touchdown of the season. His first since week 8. 7-0 Vikings in the first. Dick, David, back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. So Jalen Collins, the rookie from LSU, with a superb play, and that kick, which looked to be woefully short, ends up to be a 58-yarder.
It's a nice roll. That's what he got out of that. A very nice roll.
So starting now from the 3 is where they marked it. Will be Blake Bortles. Denard Robinson, the tailback, lining up in the end zone. And running and being chased. And Bortles goes out of bounds. Chased that time by Croy Bierman, who knows how to get to quarterbacks. Well, let's take a look now at the Jaguars offense, and they are missing their leading rusher, rookie T.J. Yeldon, which is why Denard Robinson is in there today, but they have a bunch of great receivers.
I was very impressed with the way that Denard Robinson ran last week, and they need to get him going. But this offensive line has got to do a nice job of letting Blake Bortles get comfortable. Luke Jokel on that last play gave up an inside pressure to Croy Bierman. They've got to be steady.
Robinson gained 75 yards on 14 carries, his best day. Gets another chance here, and he may have enough for the first down, and it is a Jacksonville first down. Let's take a look at the Falcons defensively. One of the things they haven't done is get to the quarterback, and they're missing one of their best tacklers, Paul Warlow, the middle linebacker, with Stupar in there.
He's not only their top leading tackler, but he is the captain of this defense. But those 2 guys on the outside, Desmond Trufant and Robert Alford, are tough to beat. So Allen Robinson and Hearns and the rest of this wide receiving crew have got to be on their mark today.
So after the 6-yard run by Bortles, it is a first down at the 14. Play action this time for Bortles, and he fires downfield, and the pass is going to be caught close to the 30 for a first down by Marquise Lee. Lee, only the 8th catch of the season for him, and 16 yards, and the Jags really have gotten out of trouble.
And you know, the thing that Blake Bortles has not gotten is the credit that he deserves, being in a smaller market in Jacksonville. I mean, he's only behind Tom Brady and Carson Palmer for the amount of touchdowns of throwing 30 this season. So he's made a huge jump from last year to this year.
He sure has. 3 games left, he has 30. That's tremendous. Here's Denard Robinson. So here's Blake Bortles in his second year.
Tom Brady, 33. Carson Palmer, who he has a great relationship, 31. And Blake Bortles. I bet if you went around and asked fans outside of this Jacksonville area which quarterback has the third most touchdowns in the NFL, they would not guess Blake Bortles.
I agree. Third pick in the draft in 2014 out of Central Florida. Now looking at a second down and 8.
Hey, Ricky. Sunday.
Good protection. Swings it out to Denard Robinson. And Robinson gets to the 35-yard line, bringing up third down and 5. And Nate Stupar, who has started a couple of games earlier this year, was right on the money with the tackle.
Blake Bortles doing a great job. If you're at home, you heard him saying, Ricky. He noticed that the pressure, if it was going to come, it was going to come from the right side. Takes his offensive line, slides the protection over there, able to get it done.
Third down, call it 4 as they just crossed the 35. Bortles being pushed back, gets away, he's big enough, and the pass is caught. First down to Julius Thomas. Thomas suffered a broken leg. There's a flag earlier in the year.
Offense number 76. 10-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
This is the second time that Luke Joeckel, the left tackle, has gotten beat inside. If you are a left tackle, you know the one place you do not want to get beat is inside. So once again, he sets up. He has the running back coming outside, gets the straight bull rush and gives up that pressure and gets the penalty.
So the penalty, Joeckel, who was the second pick in the 2013 draft. It'll be third down and 14. 4-man rush, and 7 are way back for the Falcons. And the screen pass to Denard Robinson, but he's not going to get away in a hard tackle by Justin Durant. And so the Atlanta Falcon defense stiffens, and good pressure by Adrian Claiborne. That's a couple of times he's been able to get through so far.
When you're in that situation as a defense, you're looking for two things, a draw or a screen. Defense was able to sniff it out, and Justin Durant able to come up with a solid tackle to hold him.
Devin Hester back again, and Brian Anger will kick. Another returnable kick for Hester. And Hester will give Matt Ryan good field position once again. Only a 32-yard kick, 10-yard return. Bortles and Ryan dueling here in Week 15. Matt Ryan has completed 7 of 9 early on. 75 yards and the rushing touchdown by Devontae Freeman, the difference so far with 4:01 remaining in the first quarter. Jaguars playing for their playoff hopes today if they win their last 3 games, and the winner of today's game between the Colts and the Texans have to lose their last 2. It's a tall order, but they can do it, and they win the division at 8-8. Right now they have to watch Atlanta, 1st and 10 from the 45. And the pitch to Devontae Freeman with a head of steam, and Freeman is tackled at the 49-yard line, getting 4. Well, the Falcons, as we all know, 5 straight wins to start the year. They have lost 6 in a row, 7 of their last 8. Blasted out by Carolina last week, 38-0. And no team that has started out 5-0 has finished with a losing record in the history of the NFL. They would love to avoid that, and Dan Quinn was getting it done early, and it's been a struggle lately. Second down and 6 for the Falcons. Nearly bobbling the ball was Matt Ryan, and the pass thrown behind Julio Jones. Ryan looked like he lost control going back, but we have a game break. And right now, let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Falcons have seen a lot of this. Cam Newton, his longest run of the season, 47 yards. This against the Giants. Carolina, of course, trying to go to 14-0. He got knocked out of bounds, wound up throwing a touchdown pass to Ted Ginn Jr. for a 7-0 lead late in the first quarter. David?
Thank you, Kurt. 3rd down and 6. Ryan stepping up, wants to do something, and is tackled short of the first down by about 4 yards by the veteran Chris Clemens in his 12th year in the NFL. Still can get it done, David.
He most certainly can, and I remember Chris Clemens as a rookie on the Philadelphia Eagles, and Chris Snee, our guard, saying, "Oh my gosh, have you gone up against Chris Clemens yet?" And I said, "No, I haven't." He goes, "Man, he is heavy-handed, and still he is providing that production that they need, but more importantly, he is a great leader, and he can teach these younger defensive ends how to play ball."
Can we say he got the better of you maybe one time?
Well, actually, he did. He actually bull rushed me one time and almost had a strip sack, but I was lucky enough to be able to run him by.
Rashad Green with the fair catch at the 7-yard line. So the Jaguars have not had good field position. Falcons have had good field position. 7-0 Atlanta. We'll be back. Falcons have had good field position, but not so the Jags. They will start from the 8-yard line here with 2:28 to go in the first.
Somebody on this Jaguars offense has got to step up and make a play. We talked about it in the open. This is a momentum football team, and as of now, this offense has not showed what they've done in the second half last week.
And it could come at any time. Hand off to Denard Robinson. And he gets a couple. Well, the UFC starts the new year off with a bang on FS1 with the return of power punching phenom Michael McDonald in his first fight in over 2 years. UFC 195 starts with the prelims Saturday, January 2nd at 7:30 Eastern on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
We're not talking to Doobie Brothers, Michael McDonald.
we are not.
Talking about somebody who is swinging.
Yeah, maybe they can sing, but they're swinging. 2nd down and 5. Bortles has time, and the pass is going to be caught by Allen Robinson. And Robinson, who's had a great year, flag is down, however, at about the 30-yard line, and it may be against the Falcons here. Desmond Trufant was defending, and he has his hands full against Robinson today.
Pass interference. Defense number 21. Penalty decline.
25 yards.
First down.
That's a confidence booster for Robinson. Last week struggled, but you got to give a lot of credit to Vontae Davis and the way that he played. So to be able to make up that catch and have it up against a quality defensive back and corner like Desmond Trufant, it builds that confidence for him. But also Blake Bortles, not scared, getting him the football and showing that confidence that his receiver will go up and get it.
Over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns for Allen Robinson, and a first down at the 39. And here is Bortles on the rollout, screening the field and completing the pass inside the 40-yard line. Allen Robinson again. He only caught one last week, didn't complain as a lot of wide receivers do. Catches his second in a row, 22 yards, and the Jags are in business.
You got to give this group a lot of credit, because if you think about it, with Allen Hurns, Allen Robinson, this is only their second year. They didn't have a veteran wide receiver in that room to show them the routine, to show them the ropes. But also, they have a coach that's been in the NFL and coaching for 44 years, and Jerry Sullivan, and he deserves a lot of credit for the way that these wide receivers have stepped up.
47 yards on 2 straight passes to Robinson. On the delay here is Denard Robinson, and he'll push it out close to the 35-yard line.
And we talked about a momentum team who is going to step up, and Allen Robinson is doing it right now. And look at those numbers that he has. The best stat that I love, he is the youngest NFL player with over 1,000 yards receiving and 12 touchdowns plus since Randy Moss in '98. I think that says enough, being in that company with that wide receiver.
Grew up in Detroit. His dad used to get him tickets once in a while for Lions game, and enjoyed watching Randy Moss at that point. when he played for the Vikings. Here is Bortles, and Bortles will get another first down. Julius Thomas, former Bronco, with a first down. Time for a game break. Let's check in again with Kurt Menefee.
All right, the Carolina Panthers were up 7-0 on the Giants until Eli hooked up with Ruben Randall on a busted coverage by that Panther defense that even scored 7 apiece after the 27-yard touchdown. Dick?
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. And the first quarter will run out with the score. The Falcons 7 and the Jaguars nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Start of the second quarter, the offensive leaders for the Jaguars, and both teams really relying on the pass in the first quarter. Dick Stockton, David Deal, Christina Pink with you. And it'll be a first down on the 28 of Atlanta.
Hey, Ricky. 380. 380 shots.
Another pass. Bortles lets it go. And wide open was Julius Thomas. Off of his fingertips. Incomplete. What a great opportunity.
What a great opportunity, and what great anticipation by Blake Bortles, because he released that ball even before Thomas knew it was coming. Just outside of the framework, gets those fingertips and unable to come up with it.
Oh, so close, Bortles is saying. Now second down and 10. Here's Denard Robinson. And he's been able to push the pile somewhat. Gets to the 24, where Grady Jarrett is there for the Falcons.
You have to give Denard Robinson a lot of credit, because usually quarterbacks that play that in college, when they get to the NFL, they try to put them at wide receiver, different positions. It's a whole nother thing when you're carrying the football. But with 4,495 rushing yards in college, that is an NCAA record.
He was, of course, the converted quarterback from the Wolverine days. Third down and 6. Already in field goal range. Here's Bortles' pass, and it seemed to go off of the helmet of Phillip Adams. Flag is down. Alan Hearns was the intended receiver.
Holding. Offense number 60. Penalties decline. Result of the play. Fourth down.
A.J. Cann, the rookie from South Carolina. The only rookie on the offensive line. So Jason Myers will come in to attempt a field goal. He's had his problems with extra points. He's missed 7 of them, but not bad from the 3-pointers, and his long was 58 yards. From Marist College in upstate New York, the only other player I know is Thomas Fadey of the Dolphins. So this will be a 42-yard field goal attempt, and this kick is good. So Jason Myers gives the Jaguars their first points of the game early here in the second quarter, and it's 7-3 Falcons. Well, for the AFC South, they're like the NFC East. Teams that can't even get to 500, but someone is going to win that division. Titans tied for the league's worst record. They fired Ken Whisenhunt. Jaguars haven't had a winning record since 2007. Colts are missing Andrew Luck. And the Texans have had a quarterback issue all season long. Brian Hoyer out again with a concussion. And that's been the story. By the way, the Colts are leading 7-0 over the Texans. One of these teams will take over the lead in the AFC South, and if the Jaguars win, they'll be a game out, tied for second.
Coming from a guy who played and won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But how did we get there? We were wild card teams. Records do not matter. All it is get in the dance, get in the playoffs, and you can make a run from there. And we've seen wild card teams have those wins that they needed to propel them. The Carolina Panthers last year. 2011, the Denver Broncos. 2010, Gus Bradley was a part of that Seattle team that beat New Orleans. So it is possible to get done. And like I said, as much as you want to talk about the bad play, build your confidence now, play your best football, and there's no telling what you can accomplish.
Just get in. Devin Hester is going to run this one out from about 7 yards. Devin Hester, who had a big return last year of 35 yards. is stopped. Well, this January, the celebration begins as we kick off the farewell season of American Idol, the show that made superstars from Kelly to Carrie to Phillip. Ready to discover an idol one last time. The farewell season premieres Wednesday, January 6th on Fox.
I took my 8-year-old daughter Addison to a Carrie Underwood concert one time, and she absolutely loved it, and her career wouldn't have started if she didn't have a show like American Idol.
And for me, you are my American Idol.
Oh, you're a sweetheart, Dick.
First down on the 19, only because it's the Christmas season when I say that. Matt Ryan with the pass, and it is incomplete. And a flag goes down late. It was intended for Julio Jones. Devon House was defending, and a late flag goes down.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 37, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Jonathan Cyprien, the strong safety, and after a breakup of the pass to Julio Jones, presumably, the Falcons end up getting a first down.
Well, Julio Jones makes that inside break, and you see right up front, Devon House, they called it on the wrong player. It was Devon House, who they should have called it on 31, not Cyprien.
I'll go with you. You've been on the mark all year. First down at the 24. Devontae Freeman, stop and go. Sergio Brown makes the tackle.
Sergio Brown was a player that was questionable heading in today with that thumb injury that he has, but he's gritting it out and he's out there playing.
Jones has 3 catches. Freeman has the touchdown, and Matt Ryan, who started 7 for 7, has missed his last 3 passing attempts. So now it's second down and 6. And they go to the ground again. And Freeman gets some running room, and he'll get the first down up to the 38-yard line. Good block that time by Tony Moiaki, the tight end, and a pickup of 9.
Still at this point in the second quarter, one of the deficiencies of this defense is being able to set the edge. They're not doing it. Atlanta is having success getting the ball outside to the perimeter.
Trying to break a 6-game losing streak are the Falcons here. Now they're up to the 38-yard line. And here is Freeman. Looks like he's trapped, and down he goes. It'll be a big loss there. Sergio Brown, you mentioned his thumb injury. Well, apparently he's all right to perform like this. Loss of 3.
Well, I think the Jacksonville defense heard me because I just said they need to set the edge, and they did an unbelievable job of doing it that time, allowing Sergio Brown to be able to come up and make a solid open field tackle, something that the secondary of the Jaguars have not done well this season.
Ryan was in trouble getting a big pass rush there from Chris Clemens. Had to get rid of it, and he did, but that'll bring up a 3rd and long, 3rd down and 13 for the Falcons.
Now this is a 3rd and long situation that Bob Babich and his defensive staff got to be licking their chops because they were able to be aggressive and blitz and attack Indianapolis and get those hits on Matt Hasselbeck. So you know that they're looking to dial something up here.
Neither team has converted a 3rd down yet. Ryan getting pressure, dumps it off to Freeman. And Freeman with a flag down. Won't get the first down yardage.
Andy Levitri is going to get called on the holding call.
Left guard.
Telvin Smith is a screen machine. You are not going to get a screen off on Telvin Smith.
Holding, offense number 67, 10-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
You've been talking Telvin Smith all weekend from the time we got here on Friday until right now.
He is a freak. There you see him taking it underneath, the arm to grab, the tackle by Andy Levitri. But you cannot screen on Telvin Smith. His instincts, his speed. Indianapolis tried it 3 times last week, and he made every tackle on it.
3rd down and 23. Smith with an interception and 26-yard touchdown return. 2.5 sacks, does it all 3rd down and 23. Screen to Devontae Freeman. And Freeman will take it to just about the original line of scrimmage. And it'll be 4th down. They need 10, and the Falcons will have to kick it away. But that was the best defensive sequence we've seen from them.
It most certainly has been. And you see Telvin Smith dropping back, but he identifies it and is running over there to add in on the tackle. And think about this. Over the last 2 seasons, Telvin Smith has had 221 tackles. 161 of them have been solo. That is production.
Tackling machine, to say the least. Bosher will punt, and Rashad Green from the 20. And a good return by Green up to the 37-yard line. The rookie from Florida State will give Blake Bortles his best starting field position of the game.
Today's game is sponsored by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.
Fans enjoying the pool here in Jacksonville. Warm enough to be in the pool. But we had some chilly weather on Friday when it was in the 40s.
It was perfect weather for me, a former offensive lineman. Sweat factor at a bare minimum.
Who lives in the Northeast, I might add. 1st down on the 37.
Mike 52. Green 80. Green is shot.
Bortles makes a handoff, just looking for a receiver, and he finds one, and it's Julius Thomas. Julius Thomas, who was the leading receiver last week with 5, catches another one for 22. Kurt Menefee in L.A.
Of course, the Jaguars are a game behind Houston and Indianapolis, who are facing one another today. Dante Moncrief with an 11-yard score from Matt Hasselbeck has the Colts up 7-0 in an important game in the AFC South. Dick and David.
It sure is, Kurt.
54.
And a first down after that gain up to the 41-yard line of Atlanta. Diving forward for a gain of 1 is Denard Robinson.
This is another sign of the poise that Blake Bortles and the improvements he's made. He feels the pressure, he doesn't look at it, and is still keeping his eyes downfield the entire time. He's taken some hits this season. He's been sacked 39 times, but it has not affected the way that he's played, and he hasn't been that gun-shy guy in the pocket who just falls anytime he feels it.
And this team has scored the most points through 13 games they've done in the last 16 years. So you know this offense is on the rise. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Empty backfield for Bortles, and the pass is off the hands of Julius Thomas. Going a lot to Julius Thomas so far in the first half, David.
Well, that's a matchup that they like up against anybody, and you think about all the issues that they're having as a defense trying to get everybody to Hearns and Robinsons. It only opens up things on those crossers and the seams to Julius Thomas, who's been able to come up with some big catches.
So now it'll be a 3rd down and 9. Jacksonville 0 for 3 in 3rd down tries.
Hey, where you going left? Lucy. Hey, you got 5-4. Green 80. Green is up.
Chase from the pocket, knocked off the point. Watch out from behind. The throw is out of bounds. And good pressure that time by Adrian Claiborne and Nate Stupar. And, of course, Bortles could feel it from behind.
Well, that time the Atlanta Falcons did a nice job of changing things up. You heard Blake Bortles say, Lucy, Lucy, Lucy. Slides the protection, but what does it do? It puts Denard Robinson one-on-one against Nate Stupar, hits him with an inside spin move, and makes him rush outside.
I just thought of something. You have talked about the 2 things he was yelling as he gets rid of the ball. One was Ricky, and one was Lucy.
Left and right, Ellen, yeah. I know what you're thinking.
You know, Lucy.
I know. That's where it all comes from.
Devin Hester will let it bounce, and it will go out of bounds between the 15 and the 20. So the Falcons, with a 7-3 lead, get it back. On that scoring first drive, Julio Jones caught 3 passes, but he has caught 0 in the last 2 drives where the Falcons have come up empty.
Well, they've had that fast start, but then they've had holding calls, backup penalties that have put them on the negative side. And after that, touchdown, and then the last 3, punt, punt, punt.
Starting from the 19, this is their worst starting field position of the game. Freeman knocked back after a pickup of 2 yards by Kozlowski. He is the conductor of the defense, his cohorts told us on Friday.
He's a machine. Kozlowski, you talk to him, he is all about football, but how was he able to come up with that tackle? Started with Andre Branch at that point of attack outside, getting those long arms to make sure that everything was forced from Jake Matthews inside, and Kozlowski with another tackle.
Ryan has completed only 1 of his last 5 tries. 2nd down and 8. He'll go to the ground again. And Freeman has some running room, and Freeman will barrel his way up ahead close to first down yardage, right at the marker at the 29.
You know, I said from the start of this game in the open and all the way through, if you look back at those first 7 games that they had, averaged 130-yard rushing, 11 touchdowns. Since, they've averaged 75 yards and they've had 0 touchdowns. So getting Devontae Freeman going on the ground in the passing game opens up their play-action shots for everything they do offensively in Kyle Shanahan's system.
Falcons with a first down at the 29. And here's Freeman again, and Freeman keeps his footing, and Freeman finds his way into Jacksonville territory before Jonathan Cyprien brings him down, and not easy to do so. And a gain of 21 yards for Dante Freeman.
They're getting him going, and they're getting him downhill. Once again, they get that stretch. If you run a zone scheme, everybody thinks it's the center and the guard that open things up. They are wrong. Opening things up in the zone running game, that offensive tackle has got to move the defensive end.
Tevin Coleman giving Freeman a breather. Drives to the 46-yard line. Freeman with 51 yards rushing already in the game, including a touchdown. He was out with the concussion protocol for a game and came back against Tampa Bay, but already off to a great start. It'll be a first down at the 29. And here is Coleman off the left side. And he does have a first down there, pushed out of bounds by Josh Evans. Kyle Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, and a new offense for Matt Ryan and company to pick up.
It is. It's a much different in this West Coast system. Obviously, the zone running game, and they have extensive play-action packages off of that.
So the 9-yard pickup, and it looks like the Falcons are up the tempo here on this drive. From the 29, here's Tevin Coleman cutting upfield. Right now, they're opening up holes for both Freeman and Coleman. And what was passing early becomes the running game right now, and a gain of 4.
And they are attacking that left side of the offensive line and that right side of the defensive line. I gave credit to Branch the one play earlier to set up Kozlowski, but he's getting moved at the point of attack right now by Jake Matthews, and it is opening up huge lanes for these backs.
Been all run on this drive, but this will be a play action, and Matt Ryan, having a defender in his face, Jared Odrick, has to just get rid of it incomplete. Let's check in now with Mike Hill for a game break.
All right, guys, you know the Falcons trying to catch the Vikings for that 6th seed in the NFC, taking on Chicago. Bears getting a touchdown here. Jay Cutler, Alshon Jeffrey, his 2nd straight game with a TD. It's 10-7 Vikings in the 2nd. Adrian Peterson just left this game with an injury. We'll keep you updated from Minnesota. Back to you guys.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Falcons practically with an insurmountable chance for the playoffs. They have to win out.
On both sides are down. We will use the play clock under the scoreboard at both ends.
So a play clock malfunction. So the scoreboard is off, so they'll have to use the play clock at the back of the end zone. But talking about the Falcons, in essence, they have to win out and hope the Seahawks lose 3 games. You talk about tall order, but you want to finish strong.
You have to finish strong, and like I stated earlier, you know, that locker you're sitting is rented. It's not owned, and you need to prove now when this team is going through adversity that you are going to be a part of the solution.
3rd down and 4.
Watch this matchup again down at the bottom.
And this pass will be caught by Freeman. It'll be a first down. Devontae Freeman gets the first down, keeps it going in what has been an impressive drive for the Atlanta Falcons. 7 yards there.
And they're going right to the line of scrimmage. They feel like they've got Jacksonville on their heels, and they're attacking aggressively.
9th play of the drive coming up. Ball on the 23 of the Jaguars. Freeman, and he'll lose a couple. Guess who? Podlosny in there again, and a 2-yard loss. So the running game, which has been on a rampage, short-circuited there with a loss, and that will bring up 2nd down or 3rd down.
If you think about Paul Podlosny, the leadership that he has, the warrior mentality, 7 of his 8 seasons he's had over 100 tackles.
2nd and 12 now. At the 25. Former Nittany Lion. And they've had some outstanding linebackers who have played at Penn State. We have a clock stoppage here. They're having problems in the stadium with the clocks, both the play clock and the down and distance clock, which we look at across the field.
Well, I don't think these TV screens are big enough.
the one in Arlington is certainly is.
Well, they have them on both sides here. They're huge. And look at the size of them.
2nd down and 12. Ryan all alone in the backfield for the Falcons. And his pass is caught. Julio Jones and a first down at the 10-yard line. So Julio Jones, who's been ignored since that first scoring drive of the game by the Falcons, gets 15 yards. And Atlanta marching again.
And that is one of the first missed tackles in a long time that I've seen by Telvin Smith. He should have had it stopped short, but Julio Jones, the big physical receiver he was and is able to run right through that arm tackle.
They get to the line in a hurry. This is a very crisp drive by the Falcons. From the 11, they fake the run and they pass to the outside to Jones, and Julio Jones close to the touchdown. No signal given. Touchdown now. The officials confer at the corner, and Julio Jones the touchdown, and you know they review all of these, and this one no exception.
He's in. That is a touchdown.
And ruling on the field as the runner got the ball inside the pylon for a touchdown.
Freeman touched the pylon. Jones went inside the pylon.
Either way, both were touchdowns. That's all that matters at the end of the day. And nice play call by Kyle Shanahan. They have Julio Jones lined up left side of the field with 3 wide receivers. They hit him on the submarine route where it goes underneath, right behind the backs of the offensive lineman to the opposite side.
Shane Graham with the point after, and the kick is good. So Julio Jones, who had not caught a touchdown pass in the last 5 games, breaks that string there, and the Falcons have opened up a 14-3 lead.
Today's game is sponsored by Burger King. Now get 10 chicken nuggets for $1.49 only at BK.
So it is now a score of 14-3. Julio Jones with 114 catches, leading the league. Only his 7th touchdown grab of the season, which is really underscores the problems with the Falcons offense. Not getting points, not getting touchdowns, but they have twice here. Nick Marshall is back deep for the Jaguars. Returns it from the goal line. and ridden out of bounds at the 25. Ryan to Jones. Good combination. Falcons could have used a lot of that in the last 6 games.
Well, let's go back to that touchdown. I said Julio Jones with the submarine. Great call by Kyle Shanahan. They get the zone plays running to the left. They're gashing them. Where is this entire Jacksonville defense? They are all on the other side of the field playing the run. They get Julio Jones underneath across the field, and he is all by himself. Yes, you may try to come up with a tackle Josh Evans, but when Julio Jones has that edge, it's over.
That's where the defense says, oops. Denard Robinson for 1 yard on first down. 3.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. There is the number of plays in time of possession so far. The Falcons have run off 10 more plays than the Jaguars, who face a 2nd and 9.
If you've noticed right before this play, the Atlanta defensive front, they're doing a lot of rotating, moving guys in and out, trying to keep them fresh and get favorable matchups.
Play action. And off the hands of Rashad Green. That was certainly a catchable pass and would have gotten some healthy yardage there. So now it'll be 3rd down.
He makes that catch. He has a first down up the right sideline. You know, we talked about his ability to come up with plays like last week he did in the return game. But look at Blake Bortles, says it all on his face. He has the opportunity to make plays because of the attention drawn by Robinson and Hearns. As a rookie, you've got to make that catch.
This is week 15, and this young team has not been in this situation before with so much on the line. How do they respond? So 3rd down and 9. And this pass is going to be grabbed, and they're going to rule incomplete to Allen Robinson. Ball had touched the turf. So 4th down coming up, and the Jaguars will have to kick.
There it is. He has it in his hands. He's going down, but he doesn't control it. We all know that we've seen this rule many of times throughout the last 2 seasons. You know, sure-handed guy, and as one of the veteran guys in this young group, you've got to make that catch, Robinson. Your team is down. Your team is having struggles to convert on those 3rd downs. Somebody else has got to rise up to the challenge.
Here's Devin Hester at the 30. He's had some opportunities, and he can't avoid the Jaguars there. Good coverage there. So it's 14-3, Atlanta leading. And you know, the playoff hopes may be really getting dim for the Atlanta Falcons, but they're playing strong today. What do you make of this game overall thus far, David?
Well, they started fast for the Falcons. They didn't have that lingering effect from the game last week where they were blanked by the Carolina Panthers. But if you look at the other side of the ball, the Jacksonville Jaguars, their issues right now are self-inflicted. The penalties, the drop balls. In order to stay in this football game and to show that you've improved and taken the momentum from last game, you've got to step up, and you can't wait till the second half.
First down on the 31 for Matt Ryan and company. And on the delay, hands off to Freeman. Cyprian stops him in his tracks. No gain. Game break time. Here's Mike Hill.
Panthers trying to stay undefeated in New York after a Giants turnover. Panthers convert. Cam Newton, Greg Olsen, tight end, 37-yard score. Cam 16 TD pass in his last 6 games, 14-7 Panthers in the second. Dick, David, back to you.
All right, thank you, Mike. Trying to stay undefeated. Make it 14-0 or the Panthers on the road against the Giants, who have a lot to fight for. Second down and 10. Ryan now will go out of the pocket, and Ryan has a receiver downfield off the hands of Roddy White, incomplete. White had defeated his cornerback, and Devon House lost his man, incomplete, and a 2-minute warning here in Jacksonville. Oh, so close. Get apps, videos, and more at itunes.com/NFL. 2 minutes remaining in the first half, 1:58 officially. It'll be 3rd down and 10 for the Falcons. who are leading 14-3 on their 31.
So far, Jacksonville has not brought any blitzes. They've only had 4 rushers.
Freeman is lined up as a receiver, slot to the right. And Matt Ryan's pass knocked down, intended for Julio Jones. Devon House, the former Packer. And that will bring up 4th down.
That's his 20th pass defensed, which is 3rd in the NFL for all corners. But you see him one-on-one. He has that matchup. He gets away with it early with that after 3 yards, still having his hands on him. But, you know, Julio's shaking his head. He wanted the call. He didn't get it. They're letting these wide receivers and corners play.
Matt Bosher. Rashad Green. Rashad Green has some running room. And finally is submarined at the 42-yard line, but good field position on a 20-yard return. Let's take a look at the NFC playoff picture, and the Redskins are leading by a score of 21-0 over the Bills. And interesting that the Redskins, Eagles, and Giants have been winning lately, even though the Giants are trailing right now 14-7. We have a holding penalty called on Jacksonville, but that's the NFC playoff picture as it stands now, with the Falcons just on the outside looking in.
Well, for that NFC East hunt, we saw that the Dallas Cowboys lost last night to the Jets, so they have been eliminated. Right now, the Giants are in tight with the Carolina Panthers, with the Carolina up 14-7, but you said it, Washington is up 21-0 right now at home against the Buffalo Bills. I think everybody's waiting to see that Eagles-Cardinals game that's coming up tomorrow, because since the Cardinals already clinched their berth in their division, are they going to let off the gas a little bit and let Philly creep back in?
That game is so good they may even play that tonight instead of tomorrow. Think fans will have tickets? No. First down to Bortles inside his 10. And he completes it to Denard Robinson on the flat. Knocked out of bounds by Justin Durant with 1:36. David, the Jaguars have struggled at the start of games the last 2 weeks. Lack of execution. They did score 42 of their 51 points in the second half when they buried the Colts a week ago.
And it all started with Allen Hurns in the second half coming up with a huge touchdown right down the seam. But like I said, somebody has got to step up and build the momentum for this young football team.
And no one has yet in this first half. 2nd down and 7. Bortles in the pocket. Let's see where they spot the ball. Julius Thomas with the catch. One official is right on the imaginary yellow line, and they now move the ball where it is a first down. 1:19 to go, still 3 timeouts remaining for Jacksonville. And here is a keeper by Bortles. He'll have the first down as he slides to the 35-yard line. Blake Bortles winding down to a minute, and they still have a full complement of timeouts. He got 11 on that play. Bortles with under a minute to go in the half. And it's caught by Allen Hurns. And a first down, and they got to call timeout now. They're on the 45-yard line, and they do. 46 seconds to go, but a flag may nullify that gain. And that one will be coming back.
Blake Bortles was past the line of scrimmage on that one. You see him running, scrambling, trying to release it, but he crossed that line.
It's a loss of down as well.
Yes, it is.
Illegal forward pass. Offense. Quarterback will be on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Loss of down. 2nd down.
You'll see him. Here is the line of scrimmage right here at the 33-yard line. Oh, I'm sorry, the 34-yard line. It is. And here he comes rolling. Tries to release it. He's already passed that foot. Clear call.
Well, you talked about the Jaguars with penalties.
The previous play is under review.
They're going to take a look at there, and it's under review as to whether he did. But you talked about the penalties, the drops, the mistakes that this team, coached by Gus Bradley, has made. They're going to review that penalty of an illegal forward pass. We'll be back.
Well, I know that the Jacksonville fans erupted, and I'm sure the Jacksonville fans at home are thinking the same thing. It's about where his foot is, but it's not where his foot is. It's where the ball and his body is, and it is crossed the line, so they're going to stick with this call.
And a critical call at that, because they were moving at least into field goal range, David, and now they're back on the 29-yard line. And they still have 3 timeouts left, but the clock becomes a huge factor here at 46 seconds. Bill Vinovich.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field has changed.
Wow.
Really?
The quarterback was behind the line of scrimmage. Therefore, it is a completed pass at the 45-yard line, 1st and 10.
Well, a 22-yard pass.
Since we're reversing from a stop clock to a running clock, we would have to run 10 seconds.
And now you see Gus Bradley said he wants a timeout.
To take the first charge timeout to avoid the runoff.
All right, Mike Pereira, and he's been watching that with us during the break. And Mike, I know David was right in what he said was an illegal forward pass, and they reversed it.
And they should have reversed it because the whole body and the ball have to be beyond the line at the release point. And at the release point, the back foot is still over the line. And so that makes it a legal forward pass, and that's why it was reversed, and they get the gain. And, of course, then had to take the timeout because the clock would have continued to run. But the whole key is any part of that body, even the back foot at the release point, if it's not clearly beyond, then it is a legal forward pass.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. And a break for the Jaguars, who have called a timeout. They have 2 remaining right now. Those are Bortles' numbers right now, and all of a sudden they're at the 45 of the Atlanta Falcons. And they did that to avoid a runoff. This is why Gus Bradley called that timeout. Here's Bortles, and it's caught inside the 30 by Julius Thomas. And the hurry up in progress. 18-yard pickup to Julius Thomas. Timeout on the field by Jacksonville. They have 1 left, and Kurt Menefee with a game break. Kurt.
The Visa halftime show is right around the corner, and so are the holidays. So here at Fox, some of the staff have been decking the halls to get in the spirit. But honestly, some people are taking it a bit too far.
Yeah, Coach Johnson, can I get back to work now?
Sit still, son. I'm almost done.
You know, I don't think Jimmy would like that done to the top of his head, do you?
Nobody touches Jimmy's hair. Nobody.
Ricky 27.
Trying to put a ribbon on that package. 1 timeout left for the Jaguars. They're on the 27 of the Falcons. 1st down and 10. Bortles gets away from danger. Second leading rusher on the team will pick up another 1st down and gets inside the 15. Half a minute to go, clock running. And they're looking to clock the ball, which they do with 23 seconds to go, so at least in field goal range and a chance for more here.
Now you're going to see that they're going to come back to the huddle. Obviously, they're going to want to hit their out routes, but he will still have the chance to get in a 2-play call where he can alert, he can audible, but they got to make sure with only 1 timeout left that they give themselves some opportunity to put a touchdown on the board, because they could use it. I know that you want to get points, but they need that spark. They need that energy going in at halftime like they did last week with Andre Branch. The sacks, forced fumble, return for a touchdown.
They got the spark right before halftime, and they continued through it. Here's the pass up the middle, and it was caught by Denard Robinson driving to the goal line and stopped at about the 1. He stopped at the 1, and the clock continues to run. And now a timeout called by Jacksonville with 11 seconds to go in the half. It'll be 1st and goal at the 1. Last timeout called by the Jags here.
That was close. It reminds me of the Super Bowl. That close. That stretch out. Dyson at the 1-yard line was unable to come up with the touchdown.
Titans-Rams.
Titans-Rams.
In Atlanta. So, Denard Robinson, who is starting for the injured T.J. Yeldon, who has a sprained MCL. And Denard Robinson,
This clock is very important here. No timeouts, only 14 seconds.
They're at the 1. Bortles, pass, intercepted! It's intercepted! Running down the field is Kamal Ishmael. Ishmael, one man blocked away, and Ishmael stays in but falls down at the 15. And it was Blake Bortles who went downfield to undercut Ishmael and prevent the touchdown, but a critical interception and a return of 85 yards when it was first and goal at the 1.
Well, we said momentum before halftime like Jacksonville had last week up against the Colts. It's been flipped today. That momentum at halftime is going to the Atlanta Falcons. The big interception by Ishmael.
Kamal Ishmael, who moved into the starting lineup when William Moore went on injured reserve, the great safety.
The previous play is under review.
They want to see if there's 1 second left on the clock. That's what they're looking for. Because if they can get that 1 second left, here comes the field goal unit out to get 3.
So it's about the clock here on the lower right, and it stopped. That clock stayed at 4 seconds too long.
You think Atlanta was at home with the clock staying that way, but they've had problems. They've had problems with the play clock. There should be 1 second, but we'll see. But I also thought that the play before the review that it wasn't going to get overturned, right, and it got overturned.
No, that clock's just frozen at 3 too long.
It's still frozen at 2.
It's in slow motion.
There's 1 second when he's down, but we'll see how the officials respond to this challenge.
See, when it's in slow motion, the clock moves also slowly.
No, I understand. I understand that, but if you've noticed, even when it was going,
but I did
slow down.
What a bizarre turn of events here. When it appeared the Jaguars were going to get the touchdown and perhaps move to within 4. Here's Bill Vinovich.
After reviewing the play, the runner was down by contact with 2 seconds left on the clock. We'll have one play with 2 seconds.
Mike Pereira.
Quiet.
Yes, sir. Dick
Mike,
Stockton,
what do you see?
This is the rule. Dick, when he first hit the ground, when the left forearm hit the ground, there was 2 seconds left to go on the clock. In slow motion here, it makes the clock look going slower. But again, left forearm hit still 2 seconds. Now, the rule is, had there just been 1 left, then they could not have put time back on the clock. There has to be 2 seconds left. This is this year's new replay rule.
And we're seeing it. I don't know how many times it has been employed this year. Shane Graham attempting a 34-yard field goal. And Graham's kick is good. So instead of a 14-10 game in favor of Atlanta, it is now 17-3 in favor of Dan Quinn's Falcons, looking to get to 500 and stay alive in the playoff race and put a dagger into the hearts of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's see the interception again by Kamal Ishmael.
See Blake Bortles looking directly where he is throwing it. His eyes show everything. He's trying to get to Mercedes Lewis, but he's able to get a nice jump on the ball to intercept it and get the field goal before half. They started this game with a touchdown drive, and now they will get the ball to start the second half.
Halftime, the score is 17-3 Falcons, and we now go to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles for the Visa Halftime Report, which starts now. Today's excitement is brought to you by Nissan. That was today's excitement, brought to you by Nissan. 17-3 Falcons over the Jaguars. And what a wild ending it was to the first half. Blake Bortles throwing the interception. And Nick Marshall to return the second half kickoff. The Jags will get the ball first. A week ago, they were trailing 13-9 to the Colts at intermission. Exploded in the second half and won, getting 51 points, a franchise high. And the Jags will take it out on the 20-yard line. Wild finish. It looked like the Jags were going to score. Denard Robinson has a reception, and it's first and goal at the 1.
And then they have the chip shot, the field goal, but they go for it. They get the touchdown. They get that with 14 seconds right before it starts. Ishmael with the interception gets taken down with 2 seconds left on the clock. Field goal team is able to run out and get those 3 points, and Blake Bortles has a reason to be frustrated and slamming his helmet.
First turnover of the game. Ishmael making his third start. And the Jags starting from the 20-yard line. Here's Denard Robinson. And Robinson with close to the first down and may have it. Denard Robinson's 9th carry of the game. Last week he had 75 yards on 14 carries, the most he's had this year. There you see the story, and it was Devontae Freeman with a touchdown. Good all-purpose game, but Jacksonville's errors haunted them.
The self-inflicted wounds, the drop balls, the penalties, it hasn't allowed them to get into any type of rhythm, and the momentum has been all on Atlanta's side.
Second down and 1. Bortles on 2nd and 1 has time, lost this one, and a one-handed catch by Mercedes Lewis. Flag is down. Penalty marker down. And Lewis, the 10-year veteran, with the catch and the preliminary signal. It was Robinson, Therese.
Pass interference. Defense number 27. Penalties decline. Result of the play. First down.
And the rookie from Auburn for pass interference. Lewis with 26 yards into Falcon territory.
Well, Therese thought it was going to go the other way. He was throwing up his hands like Mercedes Lewis was the one that pushed off, but Mercedes Lewis, the size, the ability of him to just go over the top and to grab that ball over Ishmael. Or my mistake, Therese.
First down at the 45. And the quick to the outside to Rashad Green, the rookie, and good coverage by the Falcons as we send it down to Christina Pink.
Thank you, Dick. Well, you guys talking about that wild finish. Obviously, Gus Bradley not happy with that sequence to end the half. He spoke to the officials for a few minutes before heading into the locker room, but he told me, look, Kamal Ishmael just made a great read, and then we just couldn't stop him. He talked to his players about adversity at halftime, said we get the ball back on offense, and so far, moving it right now. Dan Quinn said Ishmael made a great play, but here in the second half, they want to see some more balance on offense and keep Devontae Freeman going.
All right, Christina, thank you. It's second down and 12 at the Atlanta 47. And Bortles pass and reaching up and making the catch. And a good one is Allen Hurns. What a combination with Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns. That one good for 22 yards.
The thing you love about Allen Hurns is he's no silver spoon guy. This was a free agent running out of the slot. He was able to fight his way onto this roster and prove himself as a football player. You love stories like this.
No question, an undrafted rookie out of the University of Miami. Between the two Allens, they have 20 touchdown catches. Nothing doing for Denard Robinson, and may have lost a yard as Croy Bierman and Nate Stupar combined to make the play. Colts are leading the Texans 10-3 early in the third quarter in the other important game that affects this AFC South race.
Mike spot 4, Mike spot 4. Green 80. Easy, gun. Monday, green 80. Green is out.
Second and 11. They go underneath. Completed pass and a first down. Julius Thomas. Thomas having a terrific game. That's his 5th catch of the game, matching his leading receiving total of a week ago, and chalk up 17 more for the Jags.
It's nice to see Blake Bortles spreading the wealth, getting it around the field, because last week when they had those 5 touchdowns, they were scored by 5 different football players. So you want to get those attention to Hurns and to Robinson. but other players are stepping up right now and coming up with catches.
They sure are. 7 different receivers have caught passes from Bortles today. It'll be first and goal at the 8. Looking one way, going the other, and gets the slant inside the 5 to Allen Robinson. Remember, the Texans and Colts, the 2 leaders in the AFC South, are dueling in Indy right now, and it's 10-3 in favor of the Colts, and the Jags are 1 game behind those teams coming into today's play. Second and goal.
That interception by Bortles in the red zone is uncharacteristic because coming in today, his 22 touchdowns to 1 interception ratio is the best in the NFL.
On the design rollout, the pass incomplete, and it was intended for Allen Hurns. They had the linebacker O'Brien Schofield, former Seahawk. Both these teams really mirror images of one another as far as their defensive philosophy.
Yes, they most certainly are. Both Gus Bradley and Dan Quinn, defensive-minded coaches, running the same system, the same toughness on first and second down, playing a lot of 8-man boxes. But more importantly, it's about these offenses and the way that they're playing today.
And a big third down and goal from the 4 here. Falcons trying to keep the Jags out of the end zone. So far they've been successful. Here's Bortles, and his pass incomplete. Flag goes down. Pass intended for Hurns.
It was Schofield that dropped back into coverage,
as he did on the previous play.
Pass interference. Defense number 50. Spot foul at the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
Oh, yeah.
That's not the matchup that you want one-on-one. A defensive end / hybrid linebacker up against Allen Hurns.
Schofield pleading his case over on the sidelines. So it'll be a first and goal at the 1-yard line for the Jags.
Number 93. Number 93 is reported as an eligible receiver.
Tyson Alualu.
Gotta love putting in him as a fullback.
Green 80. Green is up.
On first and goal, it's play action for Bortles. He can run it in, and he will. Touchdown, Jacksonville. Second leading rusher, didn't have to go far though, just a yard. But the Jags score on the opening drive of this third quarter.
So the good thing that they do to set up this bootleg is get Zane Beadles, the left guard, out there to make sure he gets that block. Here you see Troy Bierman trying to add on. He sees that Thomas isn't open in the back of the end zone and just runs it in. Second touchdown on the ground for Bortles. Here's Jason Myers, who has missed 7 extra points. Not this time now. And it's 17-10. So the Jags start out the second half as they did a week ago. And still trail, but they may have momentum.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency. No fares, nothing to hide.
We are back here in Jacksonville, where the Falcons' lead has been cut to 17-10. Pass interference in the end zone on third down, but on the field, the 26-yard pass from Bortles to Mercedes Lewis was the big play in an impressive first drive of the second half. Now let's see what the Falcons do. Devin Hester is at the back of the end zone. Line drive kick by Myers goes out of the end zone. And the Falcons will start from the 20. Matt Ryan comes out for his first second half possession. Falcons ball at the 20, leading 17-10. Matt Ryan with the touchdown pass, 11 for 18. It's been a mistake-free team so far. Devontae Freeman has a touchdown. Good running game for him. Julio Jones, 3 of his 5 catches on the opening scoring drive for Atlanta. Here's Freeman. Freeman brings it out for a gain of 5. Well, the Big East begins conference play next week, and it's all on FS1, including a huge matchup on New Year's Eve between number 10 Xavier and 12th ranked Villanova. It's all on your home for Big East Hoops FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. With the hurry-up, Matt Ryan gets it out to Julio Jones, and he gets another first down.
I know you always say this in the second half, your opening drive, how important it is, but you can't say that anymore about this drive for the Atlanta Falcons. They've got to make sure that they give and have an answer for that last scoring drive by the Jaguars, because this is when the Jaguars team explode in the second half.
They have about 70 yards more offense than the Falcons, but Atlanta leads by a touchdown. Here's Ryan, the pass is tipped, and it is intercepted by Pusluzny. Deflected by Jared Odrick, the defensive end. And I don't know if it's all on Matt Ryan. It's one of those circumstantial turnovers, but a turnover nonetheless, and another interception thrown by Matt Ryan.
Those freaking O-linemen keep their hands down. No. Great play by Jared Odrick. He knows that he's not going to be able to get there for the sack. He's looking through the offensive tackle in order to get his hands up. And great catch by Pusluzny with that cast in his hand. Look at that big club on that right hand.
This isn't a gimme right here, this
catch.
No,
it isn't.
And so the turnover, first by the Falcons, and gives the Jags the ball in Atlanta territory. And Denard Robinson picking up good yardage on first down, about 7.
Now, if they can get him going on the ground, that'll open up everything for their offense. He's been kind of steady, then slow, and then steady. They need to have him turn it on here in the second half.
Second down and 3. Carried 14 times last week, but the most prior to that was only 7 attempts. So he's seen more work than he normally does. And here he is again. Denard Robinson drives first down inside the 30 to about the 28. Picking up 4, and that's enough to move the chains for the Jags. There's Jared Odrick, former Dolphin. He told us he felt that the defense let the offense down when they lost to Tennessee by only 3 points a couple of weeks ago.
He did. He said, you know, here comes our offense scoring all these points and having all this production, and we let them down. They bounced back without giving up a touchdown to the Colts last week.
From the 29, Bortles stepping up, and he has Robinson free on the left side. And Robinson is pushed out of bounds by Justin Durant. About 5 yards or so shy of the first down.
But what are they doing right now with this drive? They're staying ahead of the chains. They're not getting themselves in the 3rd and longs like they had in the first half of this football game.
So Denard Robinson, terrific all-round game in place of their leading rusher T.J. Yeldon. Out for the second time this year. Second down and 4, and it's been Robinson all the way. They didn't think he played the whole game. And there is the keeper again by Bortles, trying to turn the corner. Hit down. At 2:45, you can do it and get the first down. He may be a little shy. We'll see where they spot it. But it's close.
There's no denying that he was going for the first down on that one, lowering his head, knowing exactly where those chains were. Taking a big hit, but he is a big quarterback.
He knocked Robert Alford back a few.
Report as an eligible receiver.
Alu back in.
On 3rd and 1. Bortles numbers, 3rd down and 1. And a whistle and a timeout called by Jacksonville, their first of the second half. And time for a game break. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
Well, at one point, the Giants and Carolina were tied at 7. That seems like a long time ago. Corey Brown, 20-yard reception from Cam Newton. Newton, 4 touchdown passes. They're cruising, 28-7 in the third. Dick, David, and Christina.
You know what? Thank you, Kurt. Teams are always, vulnerable to upset possibilities, and this team just keeps coming in and defying those things and win. The Jaguars have challenged the spot on the field, which indicated that Bortles was short of the first down. We'll be back.
Today's game is sponsored by the new 2016 Ford Escape. Be unstoppable.
We have a challenge. Bill Vinovich. They have to have enough to overturn this.
After reviewing the play, we're going to respot the ball and measure.
The ruling on the field was that Bortles was short of the first down.
And if you notice, what is it? It is his right knee. That's why Atlanta threw the challenge flag. Right there, his right knee goes down. The ball and his body is not past the marker in the first down, so they get the challenge, and they get to hold on to that timeout.
First down. So they measured it, and it was ruled that Bortles has a first down, so the call is reversed.
So
they
still got the first down, but yet the good thing is for Atlanta, they kept the timeout. They still have 3.
So the Jags still have their 3. I've seen some strange things in this game on calls on line of scrimmages.
Due to the first down, Jacksonville is not charged with timeout and won their first challenge. First down.
So as we said, they win the challenge. Call was reversed. Still have 3 timeouts. Ball at the 19. 1st and 10 for the Jags. Needing a touchdown to tie the game. Bortles stepping up, and he's got the safe guy, Denard Robinson. He's been there all game, and he's close to the first down there. Durant on the stop. No signal given, and they line it up as his second down and less than a yard. Boy, Robinson's been open all day to the left flank. Play action. Bortles drills it. Caught. Touchdown, Allen Robinson. And a flag down right near the goal line. So this will be a 9-yard touchdown pass.
Defense number 21. Penalties decline.
And pass interference against Desmond Trufant is declined. And it is a touchdown. So Bortles has brought the Jags back in the second half, as he did last week to this point. 13th touchdown catch, leading the league for Allen Robinson.
I said that catch earlier in the game in the first half that Allen Robinson had over Trufant had to be a confidence booster for him, because today he has 2 catches, 1 catch, 1 touchdown against Trufant. And coming into this game, Trufant only had 24 receptions that he's given up, which is number 1 in the NFL. So they weren't scared of him. They've been able to attack him, and that's the confidence of Allen Robinson and Blake Bortles.
And of course they'll review it to see whether it was caught in the end zone. So we'll take a close look here. That was the interference. And that was the touchdown catch. And by the way, for Blake Bortles, 14th consecutive game that he's thrown a touchdown pass. That ties the club record set by Mark Brunell. And it is a touchdown, and looking to tie the game now will be Jason Myers. Had his problems, as we said, in extra points, but has kicked 6 in a row, and now 7, and that ties it up at 17 all. Here was the pick on a deflection. Kozlowski and Allen Robinson with the touchdown that brings the Jags back from a 2-touchdown deficit.
Today's game is sponsored by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL.
Back here in Jacksonville, they're all smiles here in Jaguar land. 6 plays, 39 yards, and both teams have capitalized on turnovers. A touchdown for Jacksonville here and a field goal late in the first half by Atlanta on an interception. Now the Falcons, seeing a 14-point lead dissipate, will start at the 20-yard line. Is this Groundhog Day or what? As far as the Jacksonville Jaguars, like a week ago, all of a sudden something happens. As you mentioned, momentum. A hero takes over so far, and they're back in the game.
And last week was the first time that Gus Bradley said through his tenure where the game was won with all 3 phases. The defense comes up with an interception. The offense is putting points on the board. Now let's see if the special teams add on to give them that extra dimension that they need to continue with the momentum and hopefully for them take over this football game.
How delighted are they that Posluszny came back this week. First down. Devontae Freeman slips and falls and will lose a yard.
And Posluszny on the tackle.
The energy that he brings to this defense. Jared Odrick pointed it out to us the other day. And you talked about Telvin Smith. This is a ferocious defense that is coming along in the lines of what Seattle has done with Gus Bradley in the past. Second down and 11. They're going to run it again to the outside. But the Jags are there again, and Posluszny is there again to stop Devontae Freeman from breaking it. And that will bring up a 3rd and long.
There he is right here, just showing the instincts and the want. Look at him run this down. He sees it clearly right away. He's able to outrun the offensive lineman. Mike Person had no chance of blocking him and cutting him off from that front side position. True veteran right there.
That's what he's done today. 3rd and 11. Matt Ryan slings it to Julio Jones, and Jones will have enough for the first down as he gets to the 31-yard line. So a clutch 3rd and long connection from Ryan to Jones, and his 7th catch of the game, 116 on the season, sets the team record for most receptions in a year, breaking the mark set by Roddy White 5 years ago.
Nice job by Matt Ryan, feeling the pressure rolling out, still keeping his eyes downfield, throws a perfect ball to Julio Jones, and Devontae Freeman, who was out there on a route, was actually able to come back and give a block for Julio Jones to get those extra yards for the first.
From the 31, Freeman gone off the left side. And a good tackle made by Hayes Pullard, rookie from USC. So Julio Jones, the only thing you raise your eyebrows about, the 7 touchdowns, but 1 already today.
With that catch, he just went to 116 to take over the single season franchise record. And who owned it? Roddy White with 115.
Second down and 8. Ryan can't get away from Jared Odrick. Tell you, this is an inspired Jacksonville team on both sides of the ball right now, making it happen in the second half. In a tie game as we wind down to 3 minutes to go in this 3rd quarter.
We talked about momentum. Who was going to step up and do it? Paul Posluszny's been that catalyst to get everything going defensively for him.
You brought it out early. Thought it might be an offensive guy, but instead it's their linebacker. 3rd down and 9. Here's Ryan. Pass. And it is caught by Julio Jones. So just when you think you're out of the woods, Julio Jones makes an 18-yard grab into Jacksonville territory with Sergio Brown upending him.
He was going on one-on-one against my mistake, against Devon House. House is playing that trail technique. Julio Jones is able to set it up and convert a huge third down for them.
Well, Ryan's hit a couple of third downs on this drive. Devontae Freeman for a couple of yards. Matt Ryan's played a solid game today without question. Does have an interception. That was on a deflection. Ball that normally could be batted away, deflected into the hands of Posluszny. But Jacksonville got the TD out of it. Second down and 8. Freeman diving forward. And that will bring up third down and long. Andre Branch making the play, one of the heroes last week against the Colts. Now it's 3rd and 7. 9th play of this drive coming up.
We've seen a different philosophy compared to last week to this week. On third downs, the Jaguars defense has only been rushing 4. They haven't been attacking and bringing the pressure. They've been relying on their front 4 to try coming up with a sack or a play.
On third down and 7. Matt Ryan's pass, and it's incomplete, intended for Nick Williams. And Devon House, and a flag is down. And now they have to separate some of the players from both teams. The penalty marker down in the secondary. House defending on the former Redskin.
Pass interference. Defense number 31. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
And it'll be a first down for the Falcons.
Well, House gave up the play earlier to Julio Jones on the big third down conversion. This time he wasn't going to let another one go. He has that right arm wrapped and grabbed around that number 5 on the back of Nick Williams' jersey, and you could see the pull and the tug. The body leaned back.
First down at the 40 of the Jaguars. Under a minute remaining in the third quarter. Here's Freeman. Telvin Smith on the tackle. It'll be second down and 7 for Atlanta. They wanted balance today, and so far they have it. Second and 7, and going deep for Julio Jones. Devon House with help from Sergio Brown downfield. So Matt Ryan taking a shot here, and it'll be third down and 7.
Julio Jones is lucky that he didn't get a penalty, because you can see him completely push off at the end with his right arm. See that little shove? He got away with one.
He did.
Like I said in the first half, they've, outside of the clear one earlier that House had, they've been letting these corners and these wide receivers play.
12 seconds remaining in the quarter. So another third down issue for Matt Ryan. His pass, and unable to hold on to it, was Justin Hardy, the rookie from East Carolina. He was there, and there was good pressure. Posluszny forcing Ryan to get rid of it in a hurry. And so fourth down.
See Posluszny standing up right over the center sliding away from him, trying to just leave him for the back, but nobody blocks him. He's completely free to roam and get in the backfield and get that pressure on Matt Ryan, so he can't deliver an accurate ball and convert on third down.
So the Falcons will kick it away, and Paul Posluszny, playing with a cast on his right hand that was broken, has been brilliant today defensively for Jacksonville. Matt Bosher just trying to kick it within the 20 or 15, does even better than that. And It rolls dead inside the 10, but it's been all Jacksonville so far in the second half. We're tied. Fox NFL Sunday returns after these words. We begin the fourth quarter. Blake Bortles has 2 touchdowns, 1 as a runner. Denard Robinson has gained 41 yards. And he has had to handle the running back story. Allen Robinson, 3 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown. So while the Falcons didn't score, they kept their defense off the field for quite a while and pinned the Jaguars to the 10-yard line. Dick Stockton, David Deal, Christina Pink. As we begin the fourth. Bortles from the 5 swings it out, incomplete to Denard Robinson.
Well, what's led to this second half turnaround for the Jaguars? Here's a touchdown to rushing by Blake Bortles on the naked. Here's a tip by Odrick to Buzz Leslie with the key interception. What does it do? It leads to a touchdown to Allen Robinson, and that's what those 3 plays have changed the momentum completely here in the second half.
Falcons had the 17-3 lead in the first half. Matt Ryan threw to Julio Jones for 1. Dante Freeman ran for another fumble at the 10-yard line. Denard Robinson bobbles the ball but quickly covers up. Almost a big scare for the Jags. Shaking his head as he got up.
It's about the exchange. He was looking downfield and he didn't feel the ball, and you saw it hit him right in the elbow.
Been an Iron Man at running back today. We thought Joe Banyard, who had no carries coming in the game, would see some action. He signed Jonas Gray, the ex-Patriot, during the week, but it's been all Denard Robinson.
And the biggest thing that he's done better this season than before is his pass protection.
3rd down and 10. Bortles. Trouble, and he loses the ball. Fumble, and the Falcons may have recovered, and maybe the Jags got it back. And it looked like Jeremy Parnell ended up with the ball when it looked like the Falcons had it first.
Philip Wheeler is the one that's able to come through. You see him pulling, gets back to the back, retraces, and is able to get the big slam that gets that ball out, and Jeremy Parnell lucky enough to be able to recover it.
And we have an injured Falcon at the 5-yard line. We will take a timeout. 4th down and 15. The injured Falcon was Grady Jarrett, the defensive tackle, the rookie from Clemson. Devin Hester just about at midfield, and Brian Anger will be kicking from the back of the end zone. Backing up is Hester. Inside the 35, nothing. Great coverage by the Jaguars special teams, led by Hayes Pullard III. So Atlanta will have good field position in this tie game early in the 4th.
Today's game is sponsored by Burger King. Now get 10 chicken nuggets for $1.49 only at BK.
Going to the locker room is Grady Jarrett on his own power. Meanwhile, the Falcons starting from their own 38-yard line in a 17-17 tie. Minute and a half gone by here in the 4th. It's been a balanced attack for the Falcons, which is what they wanted. We'll see what their strategy is here. They're going to do a play action with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan downfield, well covered, flag is down. Bumping going on, Julio Jones was hit. And this will be a pass interference call against the Jags. Claiming that if the ball might have been tipped.
Pass interference. Defense number 50. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
Telvin Smith guilty of pass interference. It'll be a first down at the 31. A 31-yard penalty here, David.
There's Julio Jones running that deep crosser. Aaron Colvin is on defense. He gets across. And there's Telvin Smith running into him.
Falcons already in good position to break the tie, but we have so much time remaining in the fourth. Here is Matt Ryan looking right, throwing right to Julio Jones, who will be about 5 yards shy of the first down. For a game break, let's check in again with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
So Brian Hoyer didn't start because of concussion. TJ Yates started quarterback for Houston, tore his ACL. Brandon Whedon came in, hooked up with Jalen Strong for the first lead at 13-10. Indianapolis just lost Matt Hasselbeck, so Charlie Whitehurst now in at quarterback. And those two teams are fighting for the AFC South lead. Dick?
Sure are. The winner will take over the lead. Jags trying to stay a game behind. They win, they'll be tied for second. And here is Devontae Freeman. And he is stopped in his tracks by Michael Bennett, rookie from Ohio State, taken on the 6th round.
It's very interesting looking at the quarterbacks today, because if you look at Blake Bortles, how many of his receivers have caught balls today? 6. If you look at Atlanta, how many receivers have caught balls? 2. Julio Jones and Roddy White.
This time they're going to send Justin Hardy and Julio Jones out to the right on 3rd down and 7. Matt Ryan getting pressure from the right side, but completes the pass. A first down to Roddy White. So it may be just Jones and White, David Deal, but they connect, and it'll be a first down for the Falcons. A pickup of 14.
Big conversion for them. Roddy White gets the one-on-one, and he takes advantage of Nick Marshall. He hasn't played a lot of defensive back, and I was looking for that challenge earlier in the game. They didn't get it to him, but this time Roddy White showing that little elusiveness at the line of scrimmage, giving the stutter step and being able to run the inside slant.
And a first down at the 14 for Atlanta. Started with good field position. Freeman will lose a yard as the Jaguars front clogs it up. Odrick and Posluszny, a couple of Nittany Lions combining on that play.
They've done that a few times.
I guess. Second down and 11. Remember, the Falcons started from their own 38-yard line. Already in field goal range for Shane Graham. Second and 11. Ryan. And this pass is deflected by Tyson Alualu at the line. Last time they had a deflection like that, it wound up as an interception for Jacksonville.
Alualu knows that he's not going to get there on the pressure. He sees that he's in the middle of the pocket. He has his eyes and was able even to jump early and still be able to have that little bit of hang time to take that one down.
You ought to do one of those commercials. 3rd and 11 now. Crowd urging on the Jags to keep the Falcons at bay here. Matt Ryan's pass thrown behind Justin Hardy. And 4th down coming up. And Shane Graham will come on to attempt a field goal that would give the Falcons the lead.
See Justin Hardy, the rookie, running the inside slant. You can't see him. He's on the outside of the screen, but he's running that inside slant. He beats Aaron Colvin on it, but that ball is thrown behind him. There's no way he's catching that football.
Graham with a 34-yard attempt, connected earlier from 33. Shane Graham. And the kick is good. It's a 33-yard field goal for Shane Graham. 14-year veteran at age 38. Gives Atlanta the lead.
You see Gus Bradley is sitting there having somewhat of a conversation with these officials, because I think he is very disappointed and mad at the call that they made with the pass interference earlier.
And that set up the field goal, but it was Tyson Alualu who Got a piece of that toss by Matt Ryan there to stop the surge, but the Falcons lead by 3. Nick Marshall on the return for Jacksonville, and it is down at the 20-yard line by Tyler Starr. Blake Bortles, who has 2 touchdowns today as a runner and as a passer, leads the Jags when we come back.
Today's game is sponsored by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
Field goal by Shane Graham ended a string of 14 unanswered points by the Jaguars. 4.5 minutes have gone by here in the fourth quarter, and now it's Blake Bortles again. From the 20. Play action for Bortles. Can't find a receiver. Getting out of trouble. And here's Blake Bortles, and he's going to slide close to the first down. He'll be a yard shy. Troy Bierman very nearly got to him, but pretty nimble at 6'5", 245, David, I would think.
Showing his poise throughout that entire time of feeling the pressure. He kept his eyes downfield. They ran a stunt. They ran a TE game, which the tackle starts at first. The end loops around. Troy Bierman gets free down the middle, but Blake Bortles showing his athletic ability and his desire to make sure that he gains some yards on it.
He's rushed for 44 and passed for 250. It'll be 2nd down and 1. And here is Denard Robinson, loses the ball, and the Falcons had it. It's a loose ball, and it looks like the Jags got it back. Alan Hearns on the recovery. Desmond Trufant first had a shot at it, and then Hearns. So Trufant wanted to run before he had control of the ball, and that cost Atlanta. Almost had a big turnover there.
Happened earlier before. Look at the handoff, the mesh. Earlier, Denard Robinson, it was on him. He hit him in the elbow. This time, you look like Bortles was trying to pull it out or keep it.
Jonathan Babineau actually was the man that knocked the ball away. So now the Jaguars and their fans can exhale. They retain the ball, but they're looking at a 3rd down and 14 here.
Both of these fumbles would have been red zone possessions for the Falcons offense.
Jaguars have been fortunate. And there's the quick pass, and it's caught by Denard Robinson. But Robinson will be shy of the 1st down. And with 4th down coming up, Brian Anger will come in to kick it away. 10-yard gain there, not enough, however. And Devin Hester will go back deep once again for the Falcons. And Hester with a fair catch at the 30 with 8:26 remaining in regulation. Let's take a look at the AFC playoff picture, which we will in a moment. Well, what if you died and then were brought back to life? Well, this January, one man will find out. It's the intriguing new drama Second Chance series premiere Wednesday, January 13th on Fox. Houston leading Indy 13-10. About 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter for the battle for the lead in the AFC South. Jaguars want to stay in contention with the win here. And a 1st down at the 31. The pitch to Devontae Freeman. And what a play made by Telvin Smith. The tackling machine at it again, David Deal.
Showing his speed, instincts. Now Pusluzny and him both have added that extra dimension. Here's Telvin Smith right in the middle. He clearly sees it. Once again, Mike Person has no chance of running him down. They try getting it to that outside toss, and Freeman, you're fast, but so is Telvin Smith.
Loss of 4. Second down and 14. In the shadows, pass is caught by Devontae Freeman, trying to juke his way past Devon House. Can't do it, but gets 5.
Now here in the second half compared to the first half, Freeman's been a lot quieter in the second half. You've seen production out of Julio Jones and Roddy White, but not so much out of Freeman here in the second.
Falcons are 4 for 10 in third down conversions. They've got to get 9 here.
Leslie and Smith standing right over the center.
Ryan stepping up. He's got time, and the pass caught for the first down. Big reception by Justin Hardy, 4th-round pick from East Carolina, and his first reception of the game gets Atlanta 20 yards.
Great job by the offensive line. Look at that arc. They pick up the blitz. Puslesny drops out, Smith comes. Matt Ryan has all the time in the world to deliver it and make sure that they convert.
So another wide receiver joins the parade after Jones and White. They're at the 48 of Jacksonville. And here's Devontae Freeman. And Freeman picking up good yardage on first down. Falcons still alive. They need 3 wins and 3 losses by the Seahawks for them to get into the playoffs. Remember, this is a team that was 5-0 at one point, 6-1. No team in NFL history ever started off 5-0 and ended up with a losing record. So the Falcons have a lot to play for. And similar to last week with New Orleans, when Drew Brees came in with the mission, that's what we're seeing here. 2nd and 5. Freeman stopped at the line of scrimmage by Jonathan Cyprien. No gain. Meanwhile, the clock continues to run. Telvin Smith. Third down and 5. Roddy White going in motion on 3rd down and 5. Big play here. Matt Ryan completes it for the first down to Justin Hardy. So Hardy, the rookie, figures in 2 big receptions here on this drive to keep it going for the Atlanta Falcons. 9 yards on the play and a first down at the 34 of Jacksonville.
The reason why is Matt Ryan has time. You see the little bunch look. Jacob Tamme runs the upfield. He runs out, but is able to come back in, find that hole in that cover 3 zone defense, and convert another huge 3rd down.
Meanwhile, the clock continues to move. On the sidelines now is Hardy. Winding to 4 minutes remaining in the 4th. A shuffle pass and a mix-up, botched play, and it could have been worse. Not sure if it was supposed to be a flea flicker or what, but it went to Freeman, who lost 1 yard.
Freeman slipped. You see him go down on the cut. He doesn't.
Flag is down. Pointing to Atlanta for the penalty. And Bill Vinovich says, what is it? When he knows, he'll tell us.
Because of the missed exchange, the quarterback threw a forward pass. Number 84 is blocking downfield. Therefore, it's pass interference. Offense number 84. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Boy, that is a weird one.
It really is.
You don't see that often. A few things we've seen today we haven't seen that often either.
Please reset the game clock to 3 minutes and 58.
First down and 20. Bortles needs the ball on the field if Jacksonville is going to pull this one out, not just on the bench. First down and 20 on the 25. Matt Ryan getting out of trouble, and he completes it to Justin Hardy again. Another reception for Hardy, and he gets it to the 38-yard line. Still a long ways from first down yardage. Got 6 that time.
They're taking their time. 4-minute drill. They're moving the ball. Hardy coming up big. This third catch on this drive. You don't want to take your foot too much off of the gas here.
8th play coming up for Dan Quinn's Falcons. Julio Jones moves to the top of your picture, and Devon House is with him. Roddy White, Nick Marshall matched up at the bottom. Going to the right side, knocked down again. Andre Branch. That's the third time a Falcon, or I should say a Jaguar, lineman has gotten a piece of a Matt Ryan pass. One time it was intercepted by Pusluzny.
Well, Ryan Schrader is trying to cut Andre Branch out here at the right tackle position because Roddy White and Freeman are running those outs and ins, and at that defensive end spot, if you don't get their hands down, they're going to do exactly this. Schrader unable to get Branch down, and gets his hands up and gets the pass defense.
So that brings up a 3rd and 13 from the 37. Right now be a 54-yard field goal if they don't gain any yardage here. And here's Matt Ryan, and Ryan completes the pass to Roddy White, the ageless one. Roddy White with a first down for Atlanta, and if the Falcons win, that may prove to be the big play of the game for them.
You know, you got to give this Atlanta Falcons offensive line some credit. Last week, 5 sacks, 11 quarterback hits. Look at the stoutness. They pick up the blitz. Matt Ryan is able to stay steady in the pocket, get his feet set, and throw it.
7 for 13 on third downs. None bigger than that 17-yard play. We have a timeout. Jacksonville calls their first timeout. Matt Ryan, 3 for 3 for 46 yards on third down in this drive. Needed 13 that time, and a 17-yard pass to Roddy White.
And that conversion on third down may be the play of the game, because now it's going to force Jacksonville to start looking at their timeouts and using it.
And a first down. Freeman, Monte Freeman, and trying to stay in bounds. The clock continues to run. We got bonus coverage after our game is over here in that Panther-Giant game, and the Giants, who were down early, now have come to within 35-28 in the fourth quarter of that game with about 5.5 minutes to go. Panthers undefeated, trying to go to 14-0. This is the 11th play of this drive coming up. Ball is on the 18. And Freeman is going to lose a few yards. Not catastrophic. Back to the 24. Thanks to Chris Clemens. And we're going to wind down to our 2-minute warning. Already in field goal range. 2 minutes to go
2-minute warning
in the fourth quarter, with the Falcons leading the Jags 20-17. 2 minutes remaining in regulation here in Jacksonville, with the Falcons leading the Jaguars 20-17. It'll be third down and 14 on the Jaguars' 24-yard line. Matt Ryan dumps it off to Dante Freeman. Freeman to the 15. Freeman is going to get a first down inside the 10. A flag is thrown after Freeman was tackled. And you could see by the expression of Matt Ryan that it may not be a good thing for the Falcons. But we'll check and see. And an injured Falcon, and it's Freeman, and also an injured Jaguar, Josh Evans, the free safety. So maybe Ryan's disgust was over the possible injury to Freeman. 2 flags have been thrown. And Evans still on the turf. Freeman did get up and go back to his huddle.
There are 2 fouls on a play, both by the offense. Illegal block in the back, number 83. That penalty is declined. Illegal block in the back, number 67. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat, 3rd down.
Andy Levitri. So the reaction by Matt Ryan was well founded, as the penalty against Atlanta will bring it back. And Josh Evans being helped off.
There's Levitri with the block in the back on Colvin. And there's Tammy right there at the end of the play. Hit Cyprian in the back.
Sergio Brown goes into the game. So now 3rd down and 14 from the 24, and that penalty nullified, and Atlanta 1st down, and the discussion between the officials goes on.
I think I'm like everybody watching right now, trying to figure out what the big discussion is about.
They have announced the penalties, the 2 penalties, illegal block in the back by 2 Atlanta players. They move the ball to where it should be at the 29.
Because of the injury, Jacksonville is charged with their 2nd timeout.
This is big. Because of the injury to Josh Evans, the Jaguars are charged with a timeout, leaving them with only 1. Delvin Smith worked on him on the sideline. He's back in the game. Been a tale of 2 halves. The Atlanta Falcons were up 17-3 at the half. The Jaguars tied it up with 2 touchdowns. It's been their MO in the 2nd half, and then with 10:28 to go, Shane Graham kicked a 33-yard field goal to give the Falcons the lead, which they have right now, and they've been impressive on this drive, where they are in field goal range with a chance, if they get a field goal, to force Jacksonville to get a touchdown to win, and they only have 1 timeout left. Jacksonville, a game behind both Houston and Indy, and Houston has won that game 16-10. So the Texans lead by 1 game in the AFC South. Indy's a game behind, but the Jaguars would have to come from behind to win this to move into a tie for 2nd with the Colts, a game behind. Falcons still alive for their wild card hopes. Long shot, to say the least. But it never hurts to win. All right, here's Bill Vinovich.
The injured Jacksonville player was a player that was fouled. Therefore, there is no charge timeout to Jacksonville.
So they're going to give Jacksonville the timeout back. And it was because the player was fouled. He got hurt, but he was the victim of the Atlanta penalty. So 2 timeouts left for the Jaguars. It'll be 3rd down and 19 from the 29.
interesting thing is Aaron Colvin is actually back in the game on this play, the injured player.
And here is Dante Freeman. And Freeman is stopped in his tracks. And now the Jaguars will call their timeout in a hurry. They still have one, remember, with 1:46 to go. Fourth down coming up.
Timeout. Jacksonville.
And Shane Graham is going to come on to try to give the Falcons a 6-point lead. Graham 2 for 2. This will be his longest try today, 46 yards. Graham has been with 10 teams in his 14-year career before coming to Atlanta. Most recently with the Saints. Taking over for Matt Bryant, who went on injured reserve. This is the fourth game for Graham. And a huge attempt coming up. And Shane Graham with the field goal to give the Falcons a 23-17 lead. Blake Bortles and his team needs a touchdown. Nothing. With the Texans beating the Colts 16-10, they take over the AFC South lead by a game over Indianapolis. And the Jaguars would need a win to tie the Colts for second, a game behind. If they don't pull it out, they will be 2 games behind. And for Gus Bradley's team, that would really cripple their hopes. Meanwhile, the Falcons, who need wins the rest of the way and need the Seahawks to lose all their games. Not the way the Seahawks are playing, not likely, but tell you what, this has been a tremendous performance by Atlanta today, David.
It most certainly has, especially after the way that they played last week and were embarrassed. They've bounced back.
Nick Marshall running it out from the end zone. And he gets tackled as he crosses the 10 by Eric Weems. .137 remaining on the clock in the fourth quarter, and the Jaguars have 1 timeout remaining. This is Bortles' game-winning drive history. Got to go 89 yards here. Inside his 5, and the pass is incomplete, and it was Nate Stupard defending against Denard Robinson. 2nd and 10.
Now they're going to huddle back up. The quarterback's going to give a 2-play sequence. Offensive line, you cannot have any penalties or give up any sacks. Wide receivers, after you catch the football, hand the ball to the official. You've seen wide receivers throw the ball, they're fumbling around, and you're wasting time, and it's lost teams games.
2nd and 10. And Bortles going downfield, and Marquise Lee makes the grab off the deflection. Trufant was defending him, and Lee hung in there. There's a flag down, however, at the 30-yard line. And the clock stops with 1:23 to go, and Lee going
Prior
to the bench.
pass, illegal contact. Defense number 54. Penalties declined. Result of the play.
And a 30-yard pass completion. Stupard's penalty is declined. What a catch.
He actually comes back, and right there you see him get hurt, but what does he do? He's smart. He runs off the field so that they don't have to waste a timeout.
He listened to you. Nothing fancy, no dances. 1:23 on the clock. First down. Bortles with a completed pass to Julius Thomas, and Thomas is tackled shy of midfield. Still 1 timeout left. They're not going to use it here. Getting close to a minute remaining. 2nd down and 3. Bortles, and Bortles goes down. And now the Jaguars will have to call a timeout. Adrian Claiborne, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, with a sack and a loss of 7 yards. Vic Beasley also involved on the play, and Beasley, the leader in sacks for this team, and the Falcons call their third, or the Jaguars, their third and final timeout with 58 seconds to go. Huge play.
Vic Beasley beats Jeremy Parnell off of the edge, so Parnell turns on his second step. So you see the pressure right here by Vic Beasley first. He gets a good jump. You see Parnell unable to get his hands on him, turns on the second step. Blake Bortles has to step up. Sure enough, here comes Adrian Claiborne right down the middle.
So the Jaguars are out of timeouts. It'll be a 3rd down and 10. 58 seconds on the clock. Bortles downfield, incomplete, just past Alan Hearns. Outstretched hands. Mike Hill with a game break. Mike.
What a comeback in the Meadowlands. Giants down by 28 in the third to the undefeated Carolina Panthers on 4th and 5. Eli to OBJ. 28 unanswered points. We are tied at 35. Less than 2 minutes to play in this game. Time permitting, you'll see the end of this one in the Meadowlands.
We sure will, Mike. Meanwhile, it's 4th and 10. Last-ditch effort here for the Jaguars. 4th down and 10 with 53 seconds to go. Blake Bortles pass incomplete, intended for Robinson, and the Falcons will take over on downs. Robert Alford defending against Allen Robinson, and Atlanta will get the ball with a 6-point lead and headed for victory here.
That sack was everything. It forced him to this. Nice turn up on the football. Alford able to get his left hand in there and knock it out and stop the opportunity and the drive and end the game.
You know, David, even though Shane Grant gave him the lead with 10.5 minutes to go at 20-17, it was that last drive, and it was that 3rd down pass to Roddy White when it was 3rd and 14. They got 17 yards that really iced the game today. A tremendous victory for the Atlanta Falcons, and they will go to 500 at 7-7, breaking a 6-game losing streak. And it's similar to what Drew Brees and the Saints did to Tampa Bay a week ago, isn't it?
It most certainly is. Right when you think a team is down and out and can't be embarrassed any more than they were against the Carolina Panthers, they bounce back and show grit and toughness and resiliency to fight their way back out and to come up with a win for their football team.
So the Jaguars will drop to 5-9.